What's up, spooky party people? I'm Marcus Prime, and we are back with Paranormasight and the Seven Mysteries of Honjo. Last we left off with Haruo Shigima and talking to Detective Richter dude, private investigator Richter guy. Basically, we left off with him talking about her lost son and how he got kidnapped and murdered. But we did meet Haruo before. We never knew her name, and she threatened us in a park because we had fire. Or a fire starting implement on us, which is how her curse tone works. I'm very curious about Tetsuo and Yako because Yako seems involved with Harue's story. I'm not gonna lie, but we'll continue with Haruo and we'll probably pass over Tetsuo to go to Yako next because they seem very connected. Although Tetsuo is also part of the police, so he might be part of the whole investigation. I feel really bad for Shogo because he's dead. Either way, either timeline he dies. And oh, what if Yoko has one next and she wants to bring him back? We'll see. This might not be all the storylines, but we'll find out someday. Anyway, starting back with Haruo Shigima. Summary of previous events. Despite having obtained the curse stone, the curse of the haunting clappers, Haruo Shigima is determined to use the right of resurrection by stealing the remaining curse stones. She instructs her private investigator Richter to find the other curse bearers. Haruo Shigima. Wait, we were here the whole time. Oh, he's gone. It's been almost an hour since Richter left. He promised he'd call me if anything happened, but he hasn't. So all I can do is wait and wait. And think! I know it's dangerous to go out, but I can't just sit here and let this opportunity pass me by. I have to look for her, for Michio Shiraishi. But first I need to find more soldier eggs. Why are we looking for Miss Shiraishi? What's this? The newspaper. It must have fallen off the chair. Read it! It's a newspaper. I'll only leave them in here for the guests. I hardly ever read them myself. Not up on the current times, are you? Haruo. I don't think I've taken the time to go over one in years, in fact. Well, it's not like I have anything better to do. Society articles? It looks like the city's biggest problem right now is pollution. I remember how the air and water used to be even more polluted. The river. I almost said water. I don't read. The river was covered in scum for all the sewage and industrial waste. And it stank so badly it'd make my eyes water. Eventually, people started getting sick, and it couldn't be ignored anymore. Fortunately, it's gotten better since then. Although the air around the industrial area is still filthy with gas and smog. Okay, alright. All sorts of articles about the current state of the economy. Now that the post-war boom has passed its peak, we're moving into the era of large corporations. It's about 220 to 230 yen to the dollar. The US dollar? Manufacturing is on the rise and exports are healthy. Wait, that's weak, right? That's how money works? Is that weak or strong? I don't know how money works. That means for every, I'm guessing US dollar is equal to 220 yen, meaning the yen was weaker than the dollar. Because if they were equal, 100 yen would be $1. I think. So this would be weaker, and if the yen's stronger, that means you get like 50 cents to the dollar, 50 yen to the dollar, right? Or 50 yen would be the equivalent to $1 US, meaning if you have like these glasses cost $1, you would pay 50 yen instead, so the yen would be stronger. I don't know why I'm trying to figure this out on here right now, but I am. So you're listening. The dollar is down from its height, and people are saying it could fall further. So the dollar is weakening There's no denying how much the standard of living has improved in the past few years. It's common to own a car and a television now, and the supermarkets are better stocked than ever. That's something I don't like with supermarkets, because, like, one, produce isn't supposed to be available all year round. Two, there's way too much in a grocery store that no one will ever buy, and most of it goes out, like, gets thrown out very, very quickly. That's a lot of waste. And they're not allowed to give it out to people, even though it's still perfectly good food. Now that everyone has more spending money to go around, people are coming up with all kinds of new diversions. It seems like only yesterday that people were flocking to the arcades to shoot aliens. But now we have these enormous theme parks and gaming machines that plug straight into our televisions. Everyone's talking about everyone's talking about superhero series, foreign films, and movies based on the latest bestseller. Back in my day, fusion rock and folk music was all the rage. But now it's all about city pop and idols. I find it hard to care about that sort of thing anymore. I know this game isn't set in modern day. Or is it? When is this game set? Do we have any idea? When are we? That happened in 1950. Because I think I've either been playing way too many games that take place in different time periods. So I thought that this game was set in like the 80s or 90s. But also, the fact that this is her current television, she still has a fax machine. They have a fucking rotary telephone. And this is their stereo. I think this has to be the 80s, right? I mean, this is an old television for their era. But they have fax machines, which were around in the 70s, 80s, 90s, I think. Rotary telephones, that should have been long gone by the 80s. But this is one of their stereos, a very expensive new stereo from that I remember from last time. Should I put a record on? No, it's too late for that. I'm not in the mood for music anyway. And the fact that she mentioned city pop, because around the 80s and 90s is when city pop became big originally, before making a resurgence nowadays, which we have, like, that's when, what's the name of that pop star? I have to look into my old playlist. What was it? What was her name? It's in Japanese. I can't read it. But yeah, that's when a lot of city pop originally became popular. That was cultural articles, I think. Yeah, that was. Everyone attends high school now, even girls. This has to be long ago-ish. Universal education policy, they call it. The country's gotten rich enough that every child can go to school. Education is the background of modern society. If you want to work for a good company, you have to get into a good university. With more people in the running than ever, the competition to get into those universities has gotten fierce, though. The new generation is rebelling. Schoolyard violence and delinquency are on the rise. But my boy was too sensible to get mixed up in any of that. Not my boy. No. Not... What was our kid's name? I don't want to read anymore. It'll only remind me of him. But that's our goal, lady. Oh, there's more? I hear the new big thing is some mascot line of delinquent birds. Mockingbirds, I think it's called. Yeah, that's what Richard was talking about. Trends seem to have such short shelf lives now with how quickly the times are changing. I think I'm just too old to keep up anymore. It's young people who are leading the way. With their modern worldviews, my generation will only fall further behind. Okay. If there's one thing Honjo never wants for, it's horrific crimes. They found a police officer dead in a local park just the other day. A lot of my family are in the police. I hope it wasn't anybody I knew. I don't read the news anymore, not since last year. It brings back bad memories. Okay, so she hasn't always not looked at the news. She used to. Suicide at local high school? Oh, I remember that. A high school girl jumped off a roof about a week ago. She was bullied, I think. Or maybe it was something about exam pressure? What? But... No, this can't be right. Her name. Michio Shiraishi. From Komagata High School. I think that's the other girl's friend, where she got her curse stone from. It can't be. Although with everyone flocking to the city, land prices are skyrocketing. Nowadays, most people can only dream of home ownership. That's still happening. The city center is going to be nothing but apartments long before long. I'm not exactly a businesswoman, so this all feels like another world to me. I don't really watch much television. It feels as if the information in the world gets passed through that little black box. But father stopped them from reporting on the kidnapping back when it happened. I was glad about that. Less fuss. Now the comedy boom is over. All the comedians are flocking to other genres. The occult seems rather popular at the moment. Look at all these paranormal specialists. Okay. We might want to call Richter. I'm waiting for Richter to contact me, but he hasn't. I've made sure the receiver is on the hook. It'll ring as soon as he calls. That must be him. Answer. Hello, Shigema residence. Is it Richter? It should be Richter. I hope it's Richter. We sat there looking at the newspaper for an hour. Oh, wait, no, we left. Oh, we did meet Richter here, I think. We met him near some bridge. Richter called me out to meet him, and we came to Komagata Bridge. Richter, there's something I need to tell you. Funny, I was thinking the same thing. We're on Komagata Bridge, under the Sumida River. I really like how they did the way you look around the world. It feels like they took the point and then put just the drawings over a circle, and we're looking from the inside just to look around. There's a highway on one side and a freeway on the other, but they're both deserted this late at night. Okay, I'm not reading that. So inside of a 3D sphere. Not spear, we're not stabbing things with our surroundings. Richter Kai. He's gazing down at the water. What does he see down there, I wonder? Is there anything above? No. Okay, so that's it. I'll go first. There's something I need to tell you. What's up? Well, that girl Michio Shiraishi, the one who was Shuichi on the day of the kidnapping, that's her. Well, she's dead. She's what? The student who committed suicide last week, that was her. I heard something like that had happened. Never got the name, though. Talk about bad luck. We finally get a lead, only to find it's turned into a literal dead end. Unless her death was the whole reason Joe Noichi was shaken up. He said she was going to curse him. Was he talking about her taking revenge from beyond the grave? It seems like we're back where we started. Not necessarily. That teacher knows something, I'm sure of it. At the very least, I'd put my money on him having something to do with Miss Shiraishi's death. That's why he's so scared of being cursed by her. I see. And also, something tells me he knows more about your son's kidnapping. In any case, I think I've got a good idea of what he's hiding. Call it a hunch. A hunch? Well, more of a theory. A paranormal theory! Care to take a guess? I couldn't say. I'm just an ordinary housewife. I'm not clever enough for all of this. Are you sure? I had you down for sharper than that. That's flattering, but I'm afraid you're mistaken. Anyway, that's enough speculation for now. The truth will out in time. Right now, I think we need to have another chat with Mr. Jonoichi. Are you going to tell me what the heck the hunch was? Please, go ahead. Alright then. I've been poking around places connected to the 7 mysteries, looking for curse bearers. And I think I've found a few candidates. There's Shogo. No. First, a tall man I ran into in Kinshinbori Park. I asked him for directions, trying to probe him a little, but he turned the questions right back around at me. And he was out there the second he figured it. I wasn't looking where he was looking for. What he was looking for. I got the sense curses were nothing new to him. I'm about 40% sure he's a curse bearer. He isn't currently. Well, unless us bringing Yoko back, which I think this is where the timeline is for this, that Shogo actually succeeded, and now he's just looking around the park. He might be a curse bearer. If that's the case, like he got Shogo's curse stone instead. But when we met him as Shogo, we killed his ass, and he was not, because he only gave you 1%. Then there's this middle-aged guy I saw on South Rodigetsu Street. He's the one that trapped us in the dark and we killed. There's no question about this one. He had one of those curse stones in hand. He had a nervous air about him, too. It was clear he was up to some shady business. Gathering soul dregs, I bet. He'd make a good target. Next up is a pair. A young man and a woman I saw around Ryogoku Bridge. We saw her! So she was with him. This time the man came up to me and asked me flat out if I was a curse bearer. I told him I didn't know what he was talking about, and he backpedaled and left. Looks like they lurk around often, looking for kindred spirits, would be my guess. Okay, he wants to pair up with people. That's what he was doing in Shogo's story arc. I don't know if he's paired up with somebody, or if they are just together in using his curse stone. Like, she could be one curse bearer and he could be another, and they decide to pair up for a common goal to find out, or to get the right of resurrection. Or they could both be together on the same goal with one curse stone. Though it didn't seem like they were quite working as a pair. Gathering soul dregs in a group might be a decent idea if you could make it work. But with things being how they are, it's gotta be hard to find folks one can trust. Okay, they're not quite a pair. So she could be a curse bearer and he's a curse bearer. And so that way they have a much more guaranteed way of killing people if they don't agree to be part of their curse. But then, why didn't she take me out when he took me out? When he tried? Maybe I didn't have her conditions to be killed by her curse stone. They've got brass though. I don't know what their deal is, but I'd like to find out. Last is 2 detectives I've seen sniffing around. The police are involved. Not necessarily. A body turned up in a local park a few days ago, so they might just be looking into that. Still, the park's got ties to one of the 7 mysteries. Might be it was a curse that did the guy in. And if they're sending a detectives from the head office, then something's got to be up. How do you know where they're from? Let's just say that when you're in this business, there are some faces you get to know. Anyway, that's everyone who's caught my eye. You found all of them in so little time? I really did hire the best. It's all in the name, ma'am. Richter Kai, P.I. No, wait. Make that Richter Kai, Investigator Extraordinaire. So anime. So anime. My, an Investigator Extraordinaire. Is that why you can dress like that without drawing attention to yourself? You bet, an Investigator Extraordinaire can blend in like a chameleon in any outfit. God, if I had that confidence. Well, that aside, the middle-aged man and the young couple sound most promising, am I right? Whichever we pick, it's still too early to make a move. It seems like the curse bearers are less involved with each other than we thought. Plus, there's still others we don't know about. I say we hang fire and see how things play out. how well things play out. I don't know why I keep trying to add words. Once more bodies start showing up, that'll get the pot nice and hot. And once it's boiling, our chance will come. Okay. Didn't you want to tell me something? I've already said everything I wanted to say. I did. Okay. Richter, surroundings. Think. Standing around is the last thing I want to be doing right now. This is my only chance to bring back my son. I can't afford to fritter it away. Oh, the surroundings. Oh. Can I ask you something, ma'am? I thought that was the same thing I read earlier. Is the Sumida River what you Honjo folks picture when you think of home? I couldn't say. All I can tell you is that I can hardly stand the sight of it. Right, should have guessed. This was where they found him after he went missing. All alone, floating in that horrible water. All I can think is how scared he must have been, how cold he must have been. What did he ever do to deserve something so awful? I've come here every day since then. And I prayed to the river to give him back, to give me back my son, day after day. You know, in olden times, people believed rivers marked where world met the next. So the act of crossing flowing water had a huge amount of spiritual significance. Back when Edo was founded, the people of Chuo saw the Sumida River the same way. They associated the far side of the river with the afterlife. That same place would later become Honjo. All their fear and revulsion accumulated there and took root. But then the Ryogoku Bridge sprang up after the Great Fire of Meireki. And just like that, Honjo was part of the city too. And as it turned from farmland into a town, the people surrounded it with man-made rivers and crisscrossed it with canals and waterways. Though, weren't those to prevent flooding? That's what I've been told. They were, but that's not all they were for. Their other purpose was to contain all the corruption that had built up on the far shore, and stop it leaking through to our side of the Great Divide. Officially, they were a physical barrier, but unofficially, they were a spiritual one too. So if I have this right, you're saying that Honjo is a place where the real world meets the afterlife. Exactly. That's why the rite of resurrection is here, rather than anywhere else. I'm sure of it. And it's probably why the 7 mysteries and their curses have survived to the modern day. And I guess that would make this spot we're standing now right over the water, the border between life and death. If there ever was a place where bringing back the dead might be possible, I reckon it's here. It's funny that you mentioned praying to the river. That might have done more than you think. Is that supposed to make me feel better? Just thinking aloud, man. Well, it's a nice thought. Cool. Cool. Okay. Oh, that's right. There's one more memory I have of this river. Do you mind if I tell you? Go right ahead. I must have been about 20 years now when I was still a schoolgirl. Back then, the Sumida River was much filthier than it is now. It was full of garbage and industrial discharge. It was scummy and slimy, and it stank. You could look out over the water and see dead cats and dogs and pigeons just floating. And one day, among all the filth and garbage, there was a piece of my missing classmate's hand. What? It was almost a miracle when you stopped to think about it. What were the chances that someone would find a part of her that was still recognizable? And that although everything but the palm had rotted away in the water, The part that was left would have an identifiable scar, and that they could tell it had been a murder from the blade marks on the bones. Wait, are you talking about the Nejima murders? So you have heard of it. I'm impressed. I assume you were but an elementary schooler at the time. I wasn't really aware of it then. I only heard about it after the fact. I had no idea the victim was a classmate of yours. Oh. Fumichika Nejima, self-employed, the man who had made headlines over 2 decades ago as the perpetrator of the brutal killings known as the Nejima murders. Oh, they named him after him. Okay. I guess that makes sense. To be honest, it was all a bit of a blur. A wave of chaos just parting around me. Something like that. They said the rest of her body must have sunk to the bottom of the river. They combed the riverbed, but they only ever found pieces. Everything must have rotted and flowed out to sea. Afterwards, I heard that all the divers who had been looking for her fell ill. A sorry story for everyone involved, huh? It's funny. Everyone figures the river's filthy already, so no more pieces of garbage won't hurt. So one more piece of garbage won't hurt. But every little bit makes it worse. It's a vicious cycle. I know I wouldn't want to go rooting around and down there myself. That's right. Which is why the riverbed is the last place anybody would go looking. Or so the killer's thinking, I suppose. The times were changing quickly back then. Things were confusing. Everyone seemed to be in a hurry. Young people were moving to Tokyo in droves. Some even ran away from home to make it in the big city. And they made easy targets for bad people. A lot of them ended up disappearing without a trace. You see, back then, if you chopped up a body into tiny pieces and threw it in the river, it would rot quickly and discreetly and sink to the bottom, never to be seen again. Are you saying what I think you're saying? They arrested him shortly after, Fumichika Nejima, the man who killed my classmate and cut her into pieces. He was so methodical about it, it couldn't have been his first crime, and people began to wonder how many other girls he'd murdered the same way. The police never found any evidence of other murders in the end, but the river knows the truth. How many corpses has it swallowed up over the years, I wonder? That same thought spread through everyone's mind, and they started to avoid this area. So really, the river has been rank with corruption for decades now. Or at least that's how it seems to me. Well, was that interesting? Well, I can see why you don't have any good memories of the river. With all the darkness lurking beneath the surface, there's no reason that you would. Still, if I may, ma'am, I'm surprised you know so much about the Nejima murders. But how could I not? After all, I was the one who found the hand. The police actually wrote me a thank you letter. They said it was only thanks to me that they managed to bring Nejima to justice. That was the only time my father ever said he was proud of me. Huh. I guess it wasn't the killer's day. Somehow I wonder if he resents me for it. More about the river, right? I have nothing but awful memories of it. Okay. Surroundings. I think we read this. Is something wrong? Not really. It just struck me. It's been 20 years since the Nejima murders. So it has. Not to smooch you or anything. Not to spook you or anything, but I thought you might be interested in knowing. Life in prison doesn't always mean life. There's precedent for first-time offenders being allowed out on parole after 20 years. Only if they've found to show remorse and to desire to reform themselves, of course. That's right. I'm surprised. I'm impressed you know so much. Why wouldn't we know so much? He's a private investigator. Wasn't he once a detective? Why do I think he was once a detective, like on the police force? Is that just how I think all private investigators are? That they all used to be actual detectives, then they went, fuck the police. I'm gonna be an investigator now. Still, it's hard for someone with a criminal record to reintegrate into society. I hear they've been trying to fix that recently, matching inmates with jobs and accommodation. Did they make him a butcher? Please tell me they didn't make him a butcher. Oh, really? They keep an eye on them, of course, and make them report in on for regular checkups. But to avoid discrimination, they keep the inmates' records a secret from everyone but their employers. They even give particularly notorious criminals new identities, so they won't be recognized in the workplace. My, the way you put it, it's like you're saying Fumichika Nejima could be out on parole right now, back in society under a new name and with nobody any the wiser. It's possible. As it happens, a little Bray told me about a big name making parole a few months back. I don't know if that was Nejima, but our discussions just now did bring it to mind. I see. How unsettling. Now that you mention it, I just remembered something too. What was it? I was passing Komagata High School a little while ago when I saw someone. Was Yako? Oh, Shogo! Wait, no, that's not Shogo. Oh, a janitor, I think. And I could have sworn he reminded me of Fumichika Nejima. Oh? He looked a little different after 20 years. Much thinner than I remembered, too. I told myself I was seeing things. But mayhaps. That looks like Shogo from behind for some reason. Perhaps it was him after all. So, what next? The big question now is what the rest of the curse bearers are up to. Luckily, the Sumida River is a good distance from any of the 7 mysteries. It's likely the other curse bearers will come all the way here. I can finally have a moment to think. I see. Alright. Suspend? What's that mean? You cannot currently progress any further. Once your situation has changed, select resume to try again. Pressing suspend will return to the story chart. Interesting. So we are stuck here. Got it. Okay. I do want to start Yako Sakazaki's story, because she is that in persons of interest? Is her friend? No, her friend's not here. Michio, I believe her name was Michio something. Michio. She might. I think Yako Sakazaki is the best friend of Michio, so I think that'd be the best place to go to next. Yako Sakazaki searches for the right of resurrection, hoping to revive her friend who jumped to her death. To get the information she needs, she meets with her classmates Mio Kurosuzu in the classroom at midnight to attempt using a spirit board. I think we have time for this. Let's start this off and see. Yako Sakazaki at 12 a.m. Komagata High School. There's a lot of female characters. I'm not good at trying to do female voices at all, so I stopped trying. I try to go higher pitch for it, but it is not working for me. It's just tough. And I can't do 2 different girls. Then again, not a lot of guys can. That should be everything. Okay, let's start. Ready for this, Yako? I'm ready. Alright, let's start. Oh, this is the spirit board. This is how we'll be communicating. First, we'll both put a finger on the 10 yen coin that's on the board. Ah, so we're looking for a dime. That's top of the line. What? Like this? Just like that. Relax your finger as much as you can. Now for the chant. Repeat what I say, okay? I am not chanting this! Your turn. Scepter of the Spirit Board. Spectre of the Spirit Board. Spectre of the... You're a little off. I didn't read what she said. Okay. I thought that's what I said. I didn't read the word board correctly. Good. She looks like permanently annoyed. Please tell us if you're there. It's crazy that you could just make a Ouija board like this. Whoa, it really moved. Looks like we succeeded in the summoning. We can ask questions now. Right, questions. Start with a question you know the answer to and see the response. Then when you know your questions are being answered truthfully, you ask what you really want to know. Okay, I'll start with something simple. What's my name? Huh? What's the matter? How strange. Huh, it told me no. I bet it means it doesn't know. It may be the Spectre of the Spirit Board, but it doesn't know everything. Is the spirit really the real deal? Well, it's fine. I feel like it's giving me attitude. What is this girl's name? Why does it know her name and not ours? Me. Oh. That's not fair. It knows your name, Mio. It even used the weird character you used to spell your name. How flattering. So, okay, this looks confusing because the board on ours is English. Theirs has to have characters on it. I bet, even the teachers get it wrong all the time. I guess these paranormal beings just tend to take a liking to you. Huh, I don't know how I should feel about that. What's my name? No. Fuck you. Fuck you, Yako. Where are we? High school. High school. High school, yeah. I like the fact that they recreated this. That had to be a lot more effort than just like just leaving it in Japanese. High school, that's right. The answers don't seem to be very precise. Are you truly the Spectre of the Spirit Board? What? Huh? It said no, is it lying? Not quite. Spectre of the Spirit Board is just a temporary name we call them when using the board. We're actually calling a spirit with a strong tie to this place, or one of the people participating. In other words, a spirit that just happened to be nearby that felt like answering. They don't really think of themselves as a Spectre of the Spirit Board. Oh, really? Huh, feels like some of the mystique has disappeared. Do you mind if I still call you the Spectre of the Spirit Board? Yes, okay. Thanks. Always good to remember to say please and thank you. What is this? Okay. This is the Spirit Board one. Alright, it's time to try asking serious questions. Yeah. Who does Mio have a crush on? Hey, you're going to ask like that kind of question? Doesn't everyone ask this kind of stuff to spirit boards? Besides, I'm curious. No. Let's not do this. No. Huh, it said no. Guess that must mean you don't have a crush on anyone. Whew. Yeah, that's it. No is correct. Let's just move on. Don't question this. Don't ask the questions. Or maybe... Do you mean the boy isn't in our class? Hey, stop that. Don't make me exercise you. If that's the case, then... Oh, Spectre of the Spirit Board. Is it a teacher at our school? Okay. No good, huh? Yako, cut it out already. We made the effort to sneak in at night. We shouldn't waste time with these questions. You've got a point. Yako. Okay. Here I go. I'll be serious now. Yes, please. Oh, Spectre of the Spirit Board. Did Michio Shiraishi in our class, who died by committing suicide by jumping 1 week ago, really commit suicide? The music's dying out. It's gonna be a no. Dramatic pause. So it really wasn't. I'm not surprised. I never believed it from the start. Now's the important part. Yeah. Okay, so Michio's finally on the page of the people that are what's it called? People of interest. Oh, Spectre of the Spirit Board. Did Michio Shiraishi die in an accident? It said yes. So it was an accident, not suicide. Then did she slip and fall from the apartment building? Oh, I thought she died at the school. She didn't? What do you mean? Michio didn't die from the apartment building? No way. If that were true, then why was she lying on the ground like that in the back alley of the apartment building? It was an accident but not a fall. Spectre Spirit Board, what happened to Michio on that day? Seems like it doesn't know the details. Then how about, oh, Spectre of the Spirit Board? We want to use the Rite of Resurrection to bring Michio back to life. Do you know where the Rite of Resurrection is? I wonder. This is how we get the Curse Stone! Oh, hi! What was that? What is this? Stop, I'm scared, Mio. Calm down. You can't let go before it's over. Stop, you can hear it. Please stop. Hurts. Such deep sorrow. A resentful memory flowing into my mind. Fool's procession. Those who hear it will fall. Kill them. Into the depths of hell. Shall fall. Those who hear this sound, kill them all. You've acquired the power of the Curse Stone, the Fool's Procession. You use it to kill those who hear the sound produced by the curse echo for more than 30 seconds. The effect will be negated if you are seen in that time. Use the curse button to produce the sound. Okay. So we have to hide and make a sound and hide from them for 30 seconds. A murderous impulse seeps into my soul like thick black tar. Kill. Can you hear it, Curse Bearer? You who so strongly desire the right. Kill them. So does that mean Yako will end up dead? I feel like that means Yako is going to end up... Well, I don't know if that's how it works for everybody. It feels like the only reason Shogo here ended up dead was because he decided to stay out. And he ended up getting hit with that curse. If he had gone home, I think he would have survived. But we'll only find out once we get through other people's stories. However, that's all the time I've got for today for Paranormasight. if you want to play through Paranormasight, the link's in the description. It's a really cool game so far. I like a lot of differences in how you use your options. Like, one of the things I really thought was cool, was this voice volume thing. Because there's been no voice acting. At least not that I've heard. And it only came into effect when we had to not hear someone's. We had to make sure we didn't hear a voice from a curse. So we had to turn this down in order to survive, and it didn't affect us. I'm guessing the same will happen if we experience Yako from a different perspective. Because she has to make a sound without seeing her. And if we can't hear sound effects or music, then maybe her curse doesn't work. Which is interesting. Like, oh, there's a lot more on culture and society. All curses, curse stones. Yeah, we've learned about all 3 of these now. I'm surprised I can't click this and figure out how it works, but this is a really cool game. I really like it. There it is. Curse power. Kills by fatal fall one who hears its music for 30 seconds without seeing the curse bearer. So there might be one of these storylines where we meet Yako, or we meet her curse and we hear the music, so we have to turn it down and search for her. That would be really cool. But yes, if you want to play this game, links in the description. As always, remember the world's chaos, so go out and be magnanimous. I'll see you all next time. Later!